All right, I got a new story. It involves Millard again. I told you Millard was in some of this stuff today, but you were talking about some of the Clays yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So let me read a little bit of what Everett said, and then I know you got a version of the story. Uncle Everett, I asked him, how did Alex meet her, referring to the second wife, Lizzie? And Everett said, oh, she had a sister that lived adjoining farms to us. So that'd be the Clays,
Yeah.
Lettia Clay. And he says, them Clays right up on the hill there, seems like that she was as good a woman ever I was around, referring to that Mrs. Clay. So he liked her. Then they fell out. My dad fell out with the Clays. I don't know whether they fell out before I left Fairview. Let's stop right there. So did Everett leave Fairview?
I don't know.
Have you heard?
I'd say he did. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd say he did too.
Used to live right down under me, Mitch Clay. They had a meeting up there at the church house. So I assume he's talking about right here. Uncle Steve was the one who arrested him.
Well,
Val Jeffries took him down to Uncle Steve and said, we're going to take him to jail. Mitch Clay, he was a fussing and going on and grabbed him a rock. Dad had left the church house. We was done gone. Jeffries and his buddy, Mitch, grabbed him a rock to hit my dad. And he seen when he thought he could dodge in under it, he come with his knife and he aimed at his throat, but went right across below his throat. So I said, your dad had a knife? He said, oh yeah, he always had it with him. Not an unlawful knife. It was just a good size two-bladed knife. Big blade and little blade. He always kept it sharp like his axe. He cut a pole on the ground, not on a block. He got a patent. What would that mean?
I don't know.
I may have heard it wrong. He kept his axe sharp. No trouble to cut with it, but you had to have a block or wish you had a block. I said, so he cut the guy across the chest? Everett says, yeah. I don't know whether it cut his clothes. I don't know whether it ripped through to the hide or not. Wint come up by there that evening. There was a knoll there. There wasn't no sprout or nothing on it. Grass. Millard, he was with us. Me, my dad, and Millard. I don't remember if Charley was along. Millard was in front. Mitch Clay, he was right out there. He was on the inside of the fence. They had a little old fence right up there, the house off down below. He got through there. The rotten post was Millard's. I guess Millard already had them. There wasn't no rotten post, just a sand bed, you know, no rot to 'em. Millard comes back. He was waiting behind a big apple tree. He hit that apple tree, I reckon. He hit it so hard it would have killed his colt. It did die. Mitch in behind it. He never come out no more. Run him off. The old man, they had a little old fence that he was standing, straddling it. Rail fence, crooked. He jumped up over that fence, got over it some way, straddled over it, got up to my dad and said he wanted peace. And Pa says, you won't get my peace.
Get a piece of me.
Yeah. And then he said, them justices, one of them up on the knoll watching a feller, they haven't had trouble with them after that. All along, every one of them, I guess sometimes it would be one side's fault, and the other time it'd be the other's fault. So what in the world's that all about?
I would say it was one's fault as much as the other. I'd say my grandpa was as much fault as anybody. From what I've heard about him.
About Mitch Clay?
No,
Or
about my grandpa.
About your grandpa.
And Mitchell Clay would raise a fight with anybody. I remember him.
You did?
Yeah. You remember him, John Paul?
Yeah.
So you're saying Mitch was a
He's
nice
one that
guy?
had that pretty one girl, wasn't he?
Pauline.
No, that's Charley.
That Charley.
Yeah, Charlie had the girl.
I didn't think she was that pretty, but but Mitchell was always causing trouble somewhere. And from what I've heard, my grandpa was too. He didn't want to get along with nobody.
Your grandpa Alex didn't want to
Yeah.
get along with nobody?
He didn't seem to be. The way my dad talked, he didn't take much off of nobody.
But he was respectful about it.
Well, have you heard about the court case against Alex?
Yeah. And Liz?
No. I think this has to do with the Clays.
Oh, I never did hear about that.
Well, Alex in 1907 was charged with breach of peace, and they had a trial. Well, they had a grand jury. It's in the paper. Here's an article that was in the Oliveville paper, 1907. And it says, there was a special term convened here Monday, December 30th of 07. And there were all these cases. So one of them right here is the Commonwealth versus Alex Porter, breach of peace, not guilty.
Well, I'd say he had all his boys there to swear for him. When you...
Yep, they found him not guilty. A jury of 12 found him not guilty. I did find that record.
When was he a regulator?
Well, somewhere or another,
Yeah, that's what I was.
1880. It's a long time before that.
somewhere or another through the deed, Liz was them to try to take half of the place.
Yeah,
But Alec went and put it all in Sam's name.
yeah.
I think he said Sam was the only one he could trust to get it back. But anyway, they all went to court, and my dad included went to swear for Alec, you know, and, which that was normal, you know. But my dad told me that his dad went and put everything in Sam's name, and he trusted Sam.
So your dad told you that?
Yeah. He didn't say he didn't trust him, but he didn't say he did either.
But what year was that?
1907.
Well, Dad Porter would have only been about, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might not have thought he was old enough to trust.
You know, that was the same time Alex was going through the divorce,
Yeah.
1907. He was probably pretty mad that year.
I'd say so. He wasn't getting no sweets, was he?
Well, he told her not to come back, and she did.
Yeah.
So he probably tried to run her off without half of the house.
Yeah.
So I could imagine it wouldn't be very peaceful.